Okay. Exhaust manifold, put that back on, put the shields back on. The whole assembly is not that heavy. You can do that. This is also a good time to put the plugs back in. I did clean these plugs up. They got some pretty rusted and rotted bodies. The plugs appear to be OE plugs. Excuse me. Ended up calling the customer. I told her about it. I said, do you want them replaced? She said, go ahead. AC Doco. The only thing I put in a GM. I don't care. I don't care what anybody else is saying. Actually, these are in the rear. I'll go ahead and put just a little bit of anti-seize on those threads. That does make them come out a little bit easier. Not quite like the stuff in a can. I like to use the spray can. This is just Permatex spray can. I just sprayed a little bit on my table here. Got me a little acid brush and just brush it on there. So anyway, sorry about the interruption. Went ahead and did the other head. I went ahead and put the plugs in there too. Heck, while it's on the bench, why not? Might as well. I'll show you these papers that I blowed off the table like 3 times. So here's the layout, ladies and gentlemen. It also got the coils on it. Move my hands so they're obviously from front of the vehicle. It's being this front here since the engine is sideways. One more time, 135, 246. Fire and order is irrelevant. These are the coil areas where you need to plug your wires into. Head bolt, I've got wrote down. I looked that up in service information. 44 pounds and then 95-degree final turn, so basically a 90-degree angle. I did a quick sketch here on the head bolt sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so I did that just out of my head because I've kind of preached that a lot, but always tighten everything from the center out. And exhaust same way, you know, from the center out. That's how you always tighten. I went ahead and I thought, I'm gonna go ahead and look it up service information. So here's that part. This is what service information is saying. So it's different from what I got, but it's the same thing because 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, mine is just opposite, stacked different, makes no difference. 5, 6, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8. I'm just reversed on a sequence, makes no difference whatsoever. Always work from the center out. You should never have a problem. That was the point. So I'm gonna go ahead, and since all this is loaded up, head gaskets are already on. Either somehow, and I know that I didn't, but anyway, either somehow I lost the dowel, or one of the dowels was never put back in. Somebody may have had this apart before, and I think it was apart before, but anyway, I checked and I couldn't find it. I went ahead and made one, and which brings me to my actual point. Make sure that those areas are clean. And the piece of material that I used to make it out of is right here, and that's the size. So we want to make sure that don't have too much play. That's got to be fitting pretty good, so that does right here. Well, that's what I made the dowel out of. So I'm gonna pause the camera up. Well, this is the reason I went ahead and removed the front. I was able to stand here, and these cylinder heads are actually pretty light, but I still don't want to take a chance on scratching the gasket. Once that gasket is scratched, we're going to have to replace it. So I'm going to get the head bolts together. So of course there's damn, I'm lay there already. 4 short, 4 long. Long in the front over here, short in the back. Same on the other side. Lubricate the bolts. I'm using penetrating grease, it's perfectly fine. And no, bolts do not go into the water jacket, so add that right along, add it in there. Line holes. $15 mil. 44 foot-pounds as we decided. Lo and behold, can't find my that gum socket. I used the impact to get him out. Sorry, talking loud. If you're torquing these, you ought to go moderately slow. Truth to be known. You really don't want to yank them into torque like I just did on that one. That's not a good thing to do. Actually, that one. Now that one. So obviously this is the first stage. Unload your torque wrench always. Gotta love it. Yep, we're going to do it the old way. $90. That's good enough, fellas. That's good enough. And before I get sidetracked, we know that this is the one we just did. Just in case something happens, somebody comes in the door or anything, yellow market or whatever. I'm saying yellow market generally. Generally everybody gets yellow bolts in them. That's the spot you don't want to lose. You know, make sure that your gauge is being held steady. This is not rocket science, guys. It really isn't. You can dog it off as well. I see people do that. I just made a tiny little mistake. I'll rectify that mistake real quick. Well, actually 5 degrees short, so 95 degrees, not 90. I was going 90. Sorry about that. Rest your hand, hold your gauge. Son of a monkey. And for those of you that watch my channel, you know I got the digital one as well. We got it too. Mix it up a little bit. That's the easy ones. I'm not going to do the hard ones. Ah, just kidding. It ain't no harder than anything else. Actually, we might make these here into the easy ones. I don't know if we can or not, but we're going to give it a shot. That might work. I don't know. We'll see. Oh yeah, look at that. Need to steady myself here now. I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera a little bit. I'm going to steady myself. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pause up, guys. No need in you watching that again. That could possibly seem a little bit odd to go ahead and put the yellow paint on the bolts, but there's a couple of good reasons for it. If you have somebody walk in the door, guys, that'll save you. That right there saves you. Plus, if something happens later on, somebody wants to tell you, well, you didn't tighten the head bolts down right. Well, right there's the proof. That is the final stage. It's the only one that gets marked. So, proof's in the pudding, right? Black RTV silicone in the corners. Siliconone. Metal gasket. Boy, it's a lot more. Now, I personally use sealer in the corners, and that's it. And I think, well, it says use no sealer anyway, so never mind. Okay, guys, I'm going to put the rods back in, put the bolt the rockers up. I'm not going to comment on that because I don't want that silicone drying up on me. We have to put them in now, so I don't have to fiddle with that later. Dang it, I put the intake on here already, and I forgot I was going to show you. Long push rods on the exhaust. This is an exhaust. You see where the valve is pointing to the exhaust. This one, long push rod, valve is pointing to the exhaust port. There's another exhaust port back here pointing over here. Long, same in the front. Long, short, long, short, short, long. If you have them laid out. So, that's what I wanted to show you. And the plastic version of these gaskets, I probably should have said that. Well, I guess I really don't think it matters, but you put this down, put silicone in the corners. I don't know if I said that a while ago or not, but anyway, I wanted to show you that. This is hard to see with the intake on it, but anyway, pop the intake back on. So, like I said, verified this several times. Make sure that you get that right. Exhaust points to the exhaust, so that's the long rods. These valves here are nicely lined up with the ports, so you can easily tell where it's going. Now, shouldn't be no problem for you. Pause this back up, put the intake back on. Once again, do it one more time. Had to replace a bolt. I lost one in the garbage can, and I'm not digging in the garbage can. I got the spare bolt. On these here, relatively important that you try to go as even with it as you can and draw it straight down rather than kicking around. That's really what I'm doing here. Just trying to go as straight down as I can. It's a little bit aggravating, but it'd be okay. So I think I got this about as straight down as you can get it. Like I said, one more time, you don't want to. What you don't want to do is you don't want to draw it sideways. When you draw it sideways, odds are you're going to mess something up. These will go down for a while. The metal, the Velcro metals are not as bad as the original plastics. But you still got to be careful. You don't want to tear that rubber. If you've done it right, you should line up perfect, as this one does. And looking at it, it's nicely in the center too. From the middle out, of course, should go without saying. Draw these up, corner to corner. Be cautious when we do that. Make sure I don't have that one going in the wrong way. Come on. Battery about dead. Anyway, put the other ones in there, tighten them up, pause the camera back up. Alright, don't know where I left off. I'm going to put bracket back on. And remember, we decided to leave the brace. We decided to leave that there, and bolts here as well. That just fell on me. I got interrupted yesterday, so I had to talk on the phone. I did a little bit of work. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, a lot of this is self-explanatory. These vehicles here are inherently not that hard to work on anyway. I dropped the bolt, by the way. Let me get that bolt. There's a bolt on the back side up here on top. You must make sure that that bolt does not get tightened up before you have the others tightened up. The others have to be tightened up first, or you can stress that piece of aluminum and maybe even break something. Let me pause up the camera. Had to lift the vehicle up because I had it smacked down on the floor because of the bolt that I just dropped. I had to go get it out. The oil filter housing is easy enough to put a seal on it. It looked like it was leaking as well. I'm gonna go ahead. I buttoned the exhaust back up, 2 nuts, blah blah blah. I'm gonna go ahead and put the seal on this one here. Easy to do, so we'll do that. I mean, it's kind of silly not to, take a couple of minutes to do that. So. Uh-oh, the battery dead. Go ahead and get a battery. I was a little bit surprised we didn't spill antifreeze into the oil, but actually none of it came out of there, so none of it went in there. Of course, I've got the evacuation, the Mighty Vac to evacuate all that stuff, so that helps a lot. So, okay, I'm gonna pause that camera up a second. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not 100% for sure, but did look like it was leaking, so. And I don't know. I have a hard time telling whether it actually is or not, but anyway. I can't leave it like that. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit. Pause the camera up just a second. Start that bolt in the lower corner there. I cleaned the housing up. There's the gasket for it. Felpro makes that. Somebody come and took my other bolt. There it is. What in the thunder? Something going on with that bolt hole now. I don't know what happened. Huh. Friggin' bolt ain't going in. I'm not forcing it in, by the way. May have been something on the thread, I guess. That's a possibility. Alright. $10mm headed bolt. Recommendation on this vehicle is to change the oil again soon. Yay, 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 yay. Just lubricated that damn filter and dropped it. Ah. And the reason I said that is I'm putting the cheaper filter on it. There ain't no need in running the wicks on it at this point in time. I'm going to recommend she get her oil changed pretty quick. I sprayed a little bit of the brake clean on here to get some of that off, but this thing here is leaking so bad that it's not going to work. So waste the stuff to actually spray it on here. So we'll let that go. I have to cut this a little bit short. Sorry about this. I actually ran out of battery. Didn't realize it a while ago. I plugged my sensor in on the bottom here. I plugged my coolant temp sensor in. I'm ready for some intake action here. I put the gaskets on, obviously. Yep. I'm gonna pause the camera up again. I forgot to clean that, so I'm gonna have to go clean that. Okay, intake on, bolted down. This is where you put the alternator bracket on, the one that has got the little angle plate with it. So now that the last bolt is in the alternator, we can put the nut back on the stud. Two studs, one on this corner, one on that corner. Now I can bolt this back on. Nut back up here. I'll lose that. Now there is two bolts that I put onto the head the other day. I need to loosen them back up. I did that so I don't lose it, or lose them rather. I've got to hurry up now because, frankly, these batteries I'm using now, those are small batteries, and they do not have a very long life at all. Dipstick. Between here, I need to follow the hole and put it back in. Whoa. That fell into place. And it went. Had a little lubrication on this, of course. I'm kind of draping this around so I can see what it is I'm doing here. Okay, so that be that. Dipstick is on. You just have to kind of wing it. We got get wires on. We got to get the coil hooked up. Let's see. Okay, we're safe on putting the coil back on. I wanted to wait in particular because of the alternator and the intake. I should have taken the coil off when we took it apart first, but I didn't. Never mind that. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the camera back up. I'm about to wrap the pipe back around. This one right here that goes toward the front. So we'll have to wrap it. I'll do all that and turn the camera back on. Naturally, the battery is 100% discharged. So, I have about 5 volts in it, and it was disconnected, so. We'll have to let that charge a little bit. Let's see if we can get it to do anything. Hopefully that fellow will run. You just now got 9 volts turning the maintainer off of it. And as you can see, there's not enough juice there to do anything. Guess once again, pause that camera up. About 15 minutes. We'll give it, turn it on and off, giving it some fuel. So I don't have any coolant in it yet, so we can't run it too long, but it appears to run pretty smooth. So go ahead and fill it. When I do a repair like that, I always start the engine before I put coolant back in to see how it runs. If it's even questionable on the way it runs, I don't even bother with the coolant. I try to find out what's wrong with it. But anyway, as you see, in a nutshell, that's about it. I've got to put the front end back on. I'm not going to put that on the camera. I'm not going to show the rest of it, like putting the battery terminals on and all that good stuff, hood. Self-explanatory stuff. Not going to film all that, so there you go. That's how you do a set of heads. At least that's how I do a set of heads. So what remains now, of course, is the coolant. For those of you watching my channel, you know I do a vacuum fill anyway, so there you go. We'll see you on the next one.